Amity and I met when I had a roommate over the summer and I was taking a bunch of summer classes, and he was trying to get me out of the house, so he was like, we're gonna go to a party, and it was her sister's graduation party, and went over there, had a good time, we danced, we did some flips and tried to impress all the ladies, and didn't ever work. Instead, all the guys would come up to us and be like, bro, that was sick. And but she was cool, and Rashid was really into her, and so I was like, that's cool. And so he invited her over to a party on 4th of July. We all hung out, had a good time, had a party, and she told me she wasn't that into him, and so I was like, okay, how you doing? And we started talking. She spent the night, and we talked all night, woke up the next day, hung out, talking all day long, and before we knew it, like a day and a half had passed, and we had just been laying on the floor doing nothing but talking, and that was when I was like, oh, we should do this again sometime. And started going to the gym together, started hanging out, and a year and a half later, we still do nothing but hang out and talk. That's it.
Joey and I first met at my sister's graduation party. He came over with my friend Rashid, and I was introduced myself to him. I was like, cool, welcome to my house, don't break anything. And then I came over his house to see Rashid for a 4th of July party because all my other plans fell through. And so I was like, oh, here's that Tony guy again. And he fed me and he made good conversation. I was like, he's kind of cool. And then we just kept hanging out. And yeah.
We met on Tinder, the social media dating app.
We met on Tinder.
We had a couple of run-ins before we met, but we actually first started talking to each other at Turtle while I was DJing.
Josh and I met in Green Turtle. It was my roommate's birthday, and we had a couple run-ins before. I knew of him. We actually had a class together, and it was funny. One time, the class was canceled, and neither of us had shown up to the last class, and we both were alone in the room, and I remember seeing him thinking, oh God, like what am I gonna say to him? Like, and I was too nervous to say anything, so I just like stormed off. And then we met in Green Turtle, like I think about a month later.
So I was hanging out with a friend of mine who was a girl one night. We went out to see a show, and it was supposed to be a big group, and then it ended up just being the two of us. And she got jealous, and she called me, and like it was a problem. I came home, and we talked about it, and I think the way that we resolved it more than anything was just, you know, she admitted that she was being overly jealous, and that there was no reason, because I'd never given her a reason to think that I might do something. And I think we discussed it. We just, you know, I listened to her expressing why she felt jealous, and then, you know, it was pretty easy because she's pretty self-aware and knows, you know, herself pretty well. But I think just the communication and just, you know, admitting, you know, not trying to, you know, tell her that her feelings are invalid, but I'm like, you know, you're allowed to feel jealous because that's the way you feel, but, you know, we know that we're just friends, and that, you know, she also has a boyfriend, and it's, you know, it's fine. And so I think that that's the way we work out most of our problems, is just, you know, treating each other's feelings as valid, and being open to...
Just good communication, yeah, just...
listening and talking.
Yeah, being patient especially.
Yes. It takes very long conversations sometimes, so a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it usually ends up with me just crying because I'm frustrated. And then he goes, why are you crying? And then I don't really actually know why.
I'm big in...
You're like,
I'm all about tough love. Like, I'm all about sucking it up and dealing with your problems on your own, and having every conflict you go into being a learning lesson. And
I'm not.
Right. I think for her, she just wants to express her feelings and get it out. So it's the conflict between the two.
Yeah, he's more like logic, and I'm more like emotion. Yeah, exactly. So like if I'm crying, he's just like, what's the reason? And I'm like, there isn't a reason. And he's like, there has to be a reason. And like, there just isn't. So it's just, I don't know, it's just like complicated. Yeah. I don't know if we ever actually like come to a conclusion though. Do we ever like, do we ever like resolve it, or we just kind of just like fizzle out?
No, I think like in the end, 9 times out of 10, it's like me telling you how to deal with it in the future. The 1 out of 10 being I get upset too.
Yeah. A little bit.
But we do usually come to a conclusion and we grow from it.
Where to eat? That's the big problem. We never know where we want to eat. And like sometimes like you'd be surprised how you would start off just starting like where do we want to eat, but then that turns into like this big fight. It's like, wait, we could have just like said we want to go to.
You never pick though. Like you hardly ever. Like I'm always like I'm in the mood for this, and you're like, okay.
We are around each other a lot, and we eat together a lot. So then we get tired of things.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick the next place to eat. We always want to like maybe try something new, but then there's also factors like if it's expensive or not, how far away the drive it is, if there's traffic.
Yeah. And I get frustrated when he doesn't pick, because you get really indecisive sometimes, and then I'm like, okay, pick something, and you know.
But the best way that we would figure it out, I think, would be if we were starting to get a little bit more like hangry and like just like arguing with each other, we would just kind of, to resolve that, we just kind of like stop the conversation, chill out for like 5 minutes, and then restart again.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like get our heads thinking straight again.
First thing that pops in my head is your patience.
Oh. You are so patient, and I am so not. If I'm hungry and you can tell, you're like, just sit down, I'll make you some food, and it'll all be okay. Or if we're talking about something serious, just like, it's okay, we'll just talk through it, and you're very patient. You're like the most patient person I've ever met, and I appreciate it because I need all of it. All of the patience.
Oh.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about you?
My favorite thing about you is how observant you are and how good of a listener you are, because I love watching movies with you, because most guys get annoyed watching movies with their girlfriend that they like really like, you gotta watch this and you gotta pay attention, and they're like, oh yeah I saw it, I totally but you like notice things on your first viewing that like most people you have to watch it a couple times and you're like, is that the bad guy? And you're like, how'd you know that? You're like, he's obviously the bad guy because it's depicted. And I'm like, yeah, she pays attention. It's great.
Aww.
I love watching all the Marvel movies with you. And I love, because I talk a lot and you just listen to me and you're just supportive, and you're always, even when I'm saying the same stuff that I've said 1,000 times, you just listen to me, and you always just, I know that you receive me because you're so observant, and I'm just like, yes.
I love your independence and how hard of a worker you are, and what a giving and caring person you are, and you're just great. I don't know. You're like really thoughtful of other people's like emotions and stuff, and you give other people opportunities like a lot, which is really nice. And what else? You're cute. I'm just nervous. You go now.
Alright. I love how supportive you are of me and my emotions and my daily struggles. I love how driven you've become and independent that you've become. And
is it hard? I know, right? You like have it in your head, but you like need words. That's how I was.
I don't know, you're just easy to be myself around.
Aww. I love most about you that you are very like attentive to my feelings, and you always, the instant that I'm like upset or annoyed or slightly like irritated, you're always like on it, and you know like what to say and like what to do. Like you're always very like, we're always on the same page, and like we're always like I feel like we're on the same like wavelength with everything. Like we have the same opinion all the time, and we're very like, you're like my best friend.
Yeah.
So,
I think that we have like a connection that you can't really have with a lot of people. You just like are always down for everything. You never like say no to anything, and that's what I like most. Yeah, it's just nice having that.